the first step is knowing what we want. What are the goals? Meaning if the goal is just security or stability, then we're going to be reactionary. We're going to just react to whatever another party, whoever that party is, does. But if we have specific aspirations and we know what those aspirations are, like I would argue that the goals of our revolution were codified in the Amida. When after the destruction of Jerusalem, our Chachamim, our sages, basically took the aspirations of our people, stretching back thousands of years, the things we're here in this world to do, and kind of encoded them into this exercise we're meant to do 3 times a day. To remind our conscious selves what our collective soul wants, right? This is the will of the people of Israel throughout history. So I think Zionism accomplished some of these goals, right? Zionism definitely took us pretty far, further than any other Jewish liberation movement. That's why we have this, annoying habit of taking the word Zionism and retroactively, anachronistically referring to all the old Jewish liberation movements as Zionist, right? You've heard that Rabbi Akiva was a Zionist and the Maccabim were Zionists, but
we don't like the word Zionist.
Well, I think I do like the word if we're using it to talk about the Zionist movement that, rose up in the late 19th century and succeeded in creating, the vehicle to bring us home and to revive our language and to create the infrastructure for a state and declare a state. I mean, that's good. Those are all good things that Zionism did. But I think we have to appreciate the fact that Zionism fulfilled its historic role for the most part, and that the Jewish people today need whatever comes after Zionism. And that we need to, I'm an educator more than anything else, and I think we need to focus on educating the next generation to identify the next goals of Jewish history, the next objectives of Jewish liberation, and to figure out what kind of movement they need to create in order to achieve those objectives. And just like the Zionists did, right? And just like in the age of Zionism, you had, political Zionism and religious Zionism and labor Zionism and cultural Zionism and synthetic Zionism and all these different Zionisms. Today, I think there will be a lot of disagreement over what the next goals are. And you can have several different movements, all led by very talented, intelligent, hardworking revolutionaries. And they'll all try to achieve what they believe to be next for us. And hopefully the tension between them will lead to a lot of progress.
Do you think, do you have an idea of what
I have a few ideas.
New Zionism will look like?
Well, I think that the next objectives, I think the current objectives of Jewish history are really freeing our state from the United States, from being dominated by Washington.
Yeah, I speak to that about that with a lot of my guests. Some people say it's impossible. Some people say it's possible.
Well, it's about as impossible as reviving the Hebrew language or fighting the British Empire or in gathering exiles. I think we've done the impossible in the last century. I don't think we should stop. I don't think an objective being impossible should be a deterrence. I think we should just figure out how to pragmatically get it done. And
what do you think the consequences would be if once they were out of the picture?
Well, first of all,
would it be only positive?
Well, first of all, I've been talking about freedom from the United States for about 20 years already. Okay, I more maybe, but what's happening now is that a lot of our politicians see that we have no choice, meaning either we can choose to separate on our terms, or eventually they'll just turn against us. And I think it's better for us to separate on our own terms. When you look at the future of American politics, the trajectory of American society, it doesn't look good for us on the right or the left. Right? Meaning
they definitely don't have our best interests at heart.
Well, they never did, but they don't have anyone's best interest at heart except for their own ruling class. Meaning that just
But they shouldn't. Like, I mean, why should they have our best interest at heart?
No, I think it's a ridiculous expectation.
I
think unfortunately, a lot of the pro-Israel world is living in a G-rated movie, is living in a children's movie, and they don't understand how the world works.
I like the way you put that. Is true.